All right, welcome. So you're ready to stop just, making pictures and start actually directing scenes? Well, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to get into how you can use super specific prompts for things like camera angles and composition to get some real, honest-to-God cinematic control over your AI storyboards. Okay, let's dive in.
I mean, just look at the difference here. It's night and day, right? On the left, you've got medium shot of character. And sure, it works. It's a picture, but it's so flat it doesn't really tell you anything. Now look over at the right. We get specific about the lens, the angle, the composition, and suddenly, bam, the result isn't just a picture anymore. It's a moment. It has feeling, it has intent, and making that leap in quality, that's exactly what we're talking about today.
Okay, first up, let's talk about building your camera angle arsenal, because this is all about prompting with emotion. And here's the key thing to remember. Camera angles are not just technical choices. No way. They're your primary tools for grabbing the emotional tone of a scene. Every single angle tells the audience exactly how they should feel.
So let's start with a classic, the low angle. You know the one. You put the camera down low, you point it up at your subject, and boom. Instantly, they feel powerful. This is your go-to for making a character look heroic, or maybe dominant, or even kind of threatening. It literally puts the viewer in a position where they're looking up at them.
And check out how specific this prompt is. It's not just low angle, right? We're talking camera position 2 feet off the ground, looking sharply upward 45 degrees, and even vertical lines emphasized. I mean, wow, those are the kinds of details that give the AI these crystal clear instructions to create that really intimidating looming presence you see here.
Okay, so on the complete flip side of that, you've got the high angle. You place the camera up above the subject, and it does the exact opposite. It just makes them feel small, vulnerable, maybe even trapped. This is the angle you pull out when your character has been defeated or they're in a really weak spot.
And you can see that same idea at work right here. The prompts get specific again, 10 feet above, small in frame, and surrounded by negative space. The AI isn't just looking down, it's being told to use the whole composition to kind of crush the character, to really hammer home that feeling of isolation. The final image you get is a direct result of that emotional instruction.
Okay, next up, the Dutch angle. This is where you literally tilt the camera on its axis. It's such a powerful tool for creating this sense of unease or confusion, like something is psychologically wrong. It screams to the viewer that the world is off balance. But a quick word of warning, you gotta use this one sparingly. If you overuse it, it just loses all its punch.
So let's see how this looks in a prompt. It asks for a Dutch angle tilted 25 degrees clockwise. See that? See how all the vertical lines in the background are now diagonal? That one simple rotation creates this powerful feeling of disorientation, of psychological tension. You can just feel that something is not right in this frame. So here's a little cheat sheet for you, a quick reference for your arsenal. We've already hit the low and high angles, but you've also got your standard eye level for just neutral, everyday scenes. Then there's the bird's eye view for that all-seeing kind of godlike perspective, and the worm's eye view, which is amazing for emphasizing just massive, epic scale. Seriously, think of this as your foundational toolkit. All right, so once you've got your angle picked out, the next step is composing with intent. Because this is all about guiding the viewer's eye. It's about how we arrange everything inside the frame to really truly maximize the story's impact. And the most fundamental rule here is, of course, the rule of thirds. It's super simple. Just imagine your frame is divided up by a 3x3 grid, like a tic-tac-toe board. Instead of sticking your subject dead center, you place them on one of those 4 points where the lines cross. And for some reason, this just creates a composition that feels more balanced, more dynamic, just more natural to the human eye. Okay, now let's talk about what you don't put in the frame. I'm talking about negative space. And please, don't think of it as just emptiness. It's not. It's an active storytelling tool. You can use all that open space to create a feeling of isolation, or maybe to build anticipation for what's about to enter the frame, or just to show the insane scale of a place.
And here's a really powerful example of that. The prompt specifically calls for vast empty warehouse space to create that feeling of isolation and abandonment. See? The emptiness isn't an accident. It's the point. It basically becomes the main subject of the shot, and it makes that character feel completely and utterly alone, just swallowed by their surroundings.
Next up, leading lines. This is a fantastic technique where you use things that are already in your scene, like roads, fences, hallways, even shadows, to create lines that point the viewer's eye exactly where you want it to go, right to your subject. It's such a powerful way to control focus and create a really strong sense of depth in your shot. In this one, the prompt asks for train tracks converging from the foreground. And just look at the image. Your eye literally has no choice. You have to follow those tracks, and they lead you straight to the character way off in the distance. It's just an incredibly effective, really elegant technique. All right, time to level up. We've covered angles, we've covered basic composition, now we're getting into the really cool stuff. Prompting like a cinematographer. These are the details that truly separate an amateur from a pro. I'm talking about lens choice and depth, and how to create a world that feels fully three-dimensional.
Believe it or not, you can actually prompt for the feel of a specific camera lens. A wide-angle lens, for example, will give you that big, exaggerated sense of space. Awesome for action or establishing shots. A standard lens is going to feel more like the human eye, so it's perfect for neutral scenes and dialogue. And then a telephoto lens, that's the one that compresses the background and makes your subject pop, which is fantastic for really isolating them in a close-up or a portrait. And if you want to make your images feel truly immersive, you have to think in layers. A really great composition almost always has 3 distinct planes: a foreground, a midground, and a background. This is what creates that sense of depth, and it pulls the viewer into the scene instead of just letting them look at it. I love this prompt because it's so clear. It explicitly defines all 3 of those layers. You've got the tree branches in the foreground, a little bit out of focus, then the character walking in the midground in sharp focus, and finally the misty forest in the background. The AI totally gets this, and it builds an image with just incredible depth and atmosphere. Okay, so we've looked at all these different tools one by one, but the real magic, the real power, happens when you start combining them. So let's do that right now. Let's build a cinematic prompt piece by piece and see how it all comes together. We're going to start super simple, medium shot. Okay, easy enough. Now let's layer on the angle. Slightly low angle, 15 degrees. Good. Next, let's add composition. Character positioned in left third using rule of thirds. Now for the lens, 35mm lens compression. And for the final touch, we add that narrative detail, negative space frame right suggesting isolation. You see how that works? Each piece we add gives us another layer of control, and it transforms a really simple instruction into a full-on director's vision. So the big question is, how do you make this practical in your day-to-day workflow? Look, you don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time you create an image. The key, the real pro move, is to build your own library of prompts that you can just reuse and adapt. This is your action plan. And here are some templates just to get you started. Got a hero introduction? There's a low-angle template for that. Need an emotional moment? Grab the intimate close-up one. Trying to show isolation? You've got a template for that too. Seriously, I cannot encourage you enough. Copy these, tweak them, make them your own, and start building that powerful, reusable prompt library. Because at the end of the day, these aren't just technical commands you're feeding to an AI, right? They are storytelling tools. Every single angle, every composition choice, every lens you decide on, it's all a decision that shapes the story and guides your audience's emotional journey. So the real question isn't just about what picture you're going to make, it's about what story your camera is going to tell.